Imagine this. You wake up to find yourself surrounded by sand, towering monuments, and the sun scorching the earth. You're in ancient Egypt, a time when pharaohs ruled and gods were believed to walk among men. But in your hands is something that could change everything, a gun. The question is, how would the Egyptians react? How would it change their world and yours? First things first, you're a stranger in an ancient world. Egyptians see everything through a lens of spirituality and myth. Your clothes, your language, and especially your weapon would make you a walking enigma. Now think about this. The pharaohs weren't just kings. They were seen as living gods. They controlled everything, land, people, and even the narrative of what was divine. If you arrived holding this weapon, the pharaoh might see it as a sign from the gods. He'd demand a demonstration, convinced it's some sort of celestial gift or divine tool. But think carefully. How would you demonstrate it? Would you fire it into the air? Hit a target? Whatever you do, it will leave them in awe or fear. A sound like thunder, the smoke, the speed of the bullet, this would be like magic to them. They might think you're a messenger of Ra or Set. On the other hand, if they see you as a rival to their own power, they might decide you're a threat. How would you handle that kind of pressure? Ancient Egypt's military relied on bows, spears, and chariots, effective tools of war for their time. But your gun? It would be like introducing lightning to a campfire. One demonstration on the battlefield could change everything. If you fired your weapon during a battle, it would cause instant chaos. Soldiers might think the gods themselves were intervening. Imagine the sight. An army retreats at the sound of one shot, not knowing what just happened. Word would spread fast. But here's the catch. They want to know how it works. The pharaoh's engineers might try to reverse engineer it. But here's the problem. Without bullets, the gun is useless. How long could you keep the illusion alive before they realize it's just a tool and not actual divine power? You might also be opening a Pandora's box. What happens if the gun inspires them to develop new weapons ahead of their time? It could completely alter the timeline of human history. Would Egypt rise as a superpower earlier than expected? Or would this knowledge cause internal strife? That's the gamble you'd be taking. Egypt wasn't just a place of war. It was a civilization built on religion, art, and innovation. Your gun would ripple through all of that, leaving a mark far beyond the battlefield. The Egyptians were deeply spiritual, and everything in their lives was connected to their gods. They might see your weapon as a divine artifact, something sent by Ra, the sun god, or maybe Set, the god of chaos. Temples might be built around it, priests might develop rituals to honor it, and myths could spring up about you and your power. You might even be seen as a god yourself. But is that something you'd want? Would you let them worship you, knowing the truth? Let's not forget, Egyptians were engineers and inventors. They built the pyramids with primitive tools but incredible ingenuity. If they got their hands on your weapon, they'd likely try to replicate it. The problem is, without knowledge of gunpowder or metallurgy, their attempts might fail. Or worse, they could stumble upon something dangerous in the process, like experimenting with fire and chemicals. Could you trust them with that kind of knowledge? And then there's the issue of power. If the Egyptians weaponized this knowledge, they'd dominate their neighbors. Would that be good for humanity's timeline? Or would it create a ripple effect, changing everything we know about ancient history? Remember, one small change could lead to unforeseen consequences hundreds or thousands of years later. Of course, while all of this is happening, you still have to survive. And ancient Egypt isn't exactly the most forgiving place for outsiders. You can't just walk up to the locals and explain yourself. You don't speak ancient Egyptian, and they don't speak your language. Every gesture, every action would be open to misinterpretation. A friendly smile might seem like a threat, and offering your gun for inspection might make them think you're giving away divine secrets. How would you navigate that? And here's the ticking clock. Your gun has limited bullets. Every time you fire it, you're one step closer to losing your advantage. What happens when the bullets run out? Would you keep the gun as a bluff, or would you try to hide the fact that it's now useless? Then there's the big question. What would you use the gun for? Would you protect yourself with it? Would you use it to help the Egyptians in some way? Or would you hide it, knowing that revealing it could disrupt their entire civilization? This isn't just about survival. It's about deciding how much responsibility you're willing to take for the world around you. So there you are, one person with one gun, standing in the shadow of the pyramids. The choices you make could change everything, from how the Egyptians see their gods to how they shape their future. Would you become a hero, a god, or a threat? Or would you try to blend in and leave history untouched? One thing's for sure, the story of Egypt, and your story would never be the same. So, what would you do if you found yourself in ancient Egypt with a gun? Would you change history, or would you try to survive unnoticed? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into history and what-if scenarios.